God is the mastermind of Latry and deception, and God is the one whose name is known as Shaytaan. Friends, the God of Christendom and the God of the many religions in the world, and also the God of the many regions of the major geopolitical regions of the world is Shaytaan. And God is the head of also their governments, and whose name is none other than the God of this world, whom is known as Shaytaan. Because Shaytaan is the God, whom is being worshipped in this world. And Shaytaan is the architect, and the mastermind of these Latry and religions, and Satan is the one, whom is also behind it all. And Shaytaan is the master of deception. And Shaytaan has caused many of the people in the world to be enslaved in the many Latry and the many religions that are in the world. And whether these are religions or deems, or whether they are from the political governments, or whether they are from the religious governments, or whether they are from the laws that are from Sharia, and whether they are the laws from the many religions that are controlling all of us, or whether they are the laws that are being used to control all of us, by the design of the world's governments, or by Latry, or by the many religions, or by the many religious cults that are in the world, friend, if they are evil, they are from Shaytaan. Friends, these are Latry, and all these are forms of Latry that are in the form of religious control from the governments that are also the controls of Shaytaan. And whom have caused many people in the world to be deceived by religion, and by the world's many religious cults, and by the many religious governments, and by their many different religious beliefs, and even those that are from the world's religious leaders, whom are the heads of all the major religions, and the many religions that are in the world. And also by their false teaching, and from evil wiles in their false doctrines and in their erroneous beliefs, which are from the many religious leaders, and from the oath of abjuration from the many Latry, and from the world's religions and their faiths, that which have being taught to deceive us all. And which is leading many astray, and away from me. And Elu'hymn, whom is the sovereign King of the heavens and the earth. And these Jesuits and false teachers have been leading many of us astray by the many different Latry that are in the world. And by the Latry of Shaytaan, and which is the by or the worshipping of the many different gods that are in the world. And which are all false worship, and which is the deception of Shaytaan, and which is the oath of abjuration or the rejection of whom is the Almighty whom is the sovereign King of all the heavens and the earth, and whom is the Creator of all mankind. And whom mankind have rejected for their Latry and their religions, which is the sin of idolatry. And which is the sin of Latry, which is leading mankind away from the worshipping of the Sovereign One, whom is called Elu'hymn, and whom is called and the Almighty and Elu'hymn, the Holy Sacred One, and whose holy name is known as Holy. My friends, Shaytaan is God, and Shaytaan is the face of the many gods that are being worshipped in the world. And God is the short form of the name of Godriel, whom is called God. And God Godriel has about 30,000 different names. Please see my message, which is called 30,000 Gods. And in the humble beginnings of Islam and the origins of the Quran, the name of God was known as Baal God, and Baal Peer or Bad Baal. And Baal Zebub and Beelzebub, and Bel, and also the dragon. And also the old serpent known as Draco, and the gods of this world. And Baal God, Baal was the name of God whose name was also known as Hubal, and Baal God, and Baal, and the Lord, and also Baal Zebub. And whom was also known as Shaytaan, and Iblis, and Shaytaan and Satan. And whom is the prince of darkness and the king of the abyss. And whom is called the destroyer, and Apollyon, and Abaddon. Friends, there are many dissenters of Islam, and also many more of these dissenters of Islam whom are religious researchers, whom have left their faith for Christendom and from the deen of Islam and its Sharia laws. And whom are now encouraging the Muslims to leave their Islamic faith, and to denounce Muhammad as the Holy Prophet. And to leave their Islamic faith, for Christendom, and to embrace God and His Son Jesus. But friends, they are also sadly mistaken. Because Baal means Lord. And Baal is also a god, and Baal is none other than the Lord, Baal God, Baal Peer or Bad Baal. And whom is also a Canaanite god. And Baal is also known as the Son of God. and whom is also known as Yeshua and Yeshua, or Issa, and Gesu and Ihs and Isis and Judas Jesuit Jesus. And whom is also known as the deceiver, and the devil, and also whom is the evil one, whom is called Shaytaan. Friends, the worshipping of any god or the lauding of any god is also known as latry. And it could be lordolatry and idolomancy or idolatry. And God and Jesus are the two major gods that are being worshipped in the world today. Friends, the god Hubal is believed to be the name of God before the early beginnings of the worship of many of the religions in the time of Christendom. And whom was one of the major gods, that was being worshipped at the time of the upbringings of a certain Nabatean king, and whom was against the Nabatean leader, Zubair Ibrahim al-Awwam, and whom was against the Tayyi tribes, and also against the worshippers of Elu'hymn, whom were calling upon E, which is the name of the Holy One, and whom is known as the Sovereign King of Heaven. And Elias Ibrahim, whom was a leader of a large Arabic tribe of the Middle East called Tayyi, or Tayyi, and whom was from a descendant of Abraham ancestry, and whose name was known as Elias Ibrahim of Tayyi, and whom is still being misidentified to be Zubair Ibrahim al-Awwam, whom was an Arab Muslim commander in the service of the Caliphate, and whom was against the religion of the day, and whom was against the Tayyi tribe and their beliefs, because they were against the Nabateans' religion, and whom were also against the many false religions and the false worship of the day, which was at that time called polytheism and Jesuitism, and also heathenism or Nabateanism, and which was different to the faith of Elias Ibrahim's and his beliefs. And when the Nabateans' god Hubal was being worshipped and the beliefs of the Nabatean religion was dominant, and which was the religion of the first Meccans believers, whom had rejected Elias Ibrahim beliefs, and also when the beliefs of the Jesuits and Jesuitism, and the worship of Hubal, Baal was being worshipped. And when the Nabatean religion and paganism or polytheism, which was the worshipping of several gods, was dominant, and which was the worshipping of Al-Uzza and Manat and Alat, whom the temple of Wadi Rum was dedicated to, and when the chief god was Hubal, Baal, and also the other local gods, as well as Baal Shaman and Isis and the Greco-Roman gods, such as Tik and Dionysus, and also their goddesses, whom were worshipped as fertility gods and destiny gods. And when they had rejected the worship of Elu'hymn for the worship of Baal god, and Christendom, or Christianity, and then Al-Malik, whom was in the service of the Nabatean king, whom led the way for the Muhammadan faith, before it was known as the Islamic faith, and before it was known as the faith of the Muslims. And this was long before the rise of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. And later on, when the father of Muhammad had his sons, whom were instrumental in the rise of Muhammadanism. And this was before Abdullah al-Muttalib ibn Hashim, the father of Muhammad, who died, when the Prophet Muhammad was yet quite a baby, and when he was only about 2 months old. And later on, when Muhammad was brought up by his grandfather, until the time when Muhammad was about 40 years old, when he was praying to God in a cave, and when he had a visitation of God, and when he was believed to be possessed, and he was chosen to be the holy prophet of God, and whom according to the satanic verses the Quran was given to Muhammad, when God gave the verses of the Quran to Muhammad, and when Muhammad became the mouthpiece for God, and whom many now believe that Muhammad was deceived by Shaytaan, because Muhammad could not tell the difference between the Holy One, whom is also called the Almighty, when he was visited by an angel or a jinni, whom Muhammad thought was the angel Gabriel, whom he believed was sent to him from God, whom he knew to be called Allah, and whom many today are equating to be called Shaytaan, and also God. Friends, while writing this message, Elu'hymn spoke to me and he said to me, that I don't have to twist or reword any of the saying of the words of Muhammad, nor either of any of his works, and that the Prophet Muhammad was the one whom was sent to the Muslim, and that Muhammad has being dead for many years now, and so has being Jesus, and that Muhammad, we have being told, has being buried, and that he hasn't being resurrected yet, and his saying were being written down, and they were being compiled into what is being known as the Holy Quran. And also so are the sayings of Jesus. And in the end many would stand before Elu'hymn, whom is the sovereign judge, and whom would judge everyone. Because no one is going to get into His holy kingdom without being sealed with the holy sacred names of He. Friends, the disciples, or the followers of Muhammad and the people of the Muslim faith, and also all those whom are adhering to Islam, and also those who are also my brethren. Regardless of what are their beliefs, they too would have to give to Elu'hymn an account for themselves. And friends, because we all are the descendants of Abraham, even though may have a hard time proving our heritage. Friends, the God of this world is the author of confusion, and that Shaytaan have being driving a wedge between the people who are of a Muslim persuasion, or whom are of a Muhammadan belief, and even all those who are Christians, and even all those whom are from those religions whose faith is based upon the abjuration oath of the Jesuits, and from the oath of the rejection of Elu'hymn, whom is the sovereign one, whom is the Odd, of heaven. And also from the laws and the commandments of Elu'hymn, whom is the Almighty, and whom is the sovereign King of all the heavens and the earth, and whom have created all things, even from in the time of the creation, and even from in the time of the beginning of the world. Friends, even from the time when Shaytaan the beguiler first sinned, and when Shaytaan disobeyed Elu'hymn, and when he corrupted His creation and human being, by sleeping with the first woman. And whom hasn't stopped there, because he is still deceiving the world today, just because he thinks that the people in the world are his. Friends, it is time that we learn the truth. And that is this: we all have been created by Elu'hymn, whom is the Odd, and whom is the sovereign King and the Holy One, whose name is called Holy, and also the Almighty, and that He, the Holy One, was the Holy One who was the sovereign King, whom came down from heaven and to die, and to redeem us back to Himself, and so that we would not have to perish in this world nor neither in the world to come. And that just by us believing in the holy sacred name of He, and that Elu'hymn is the Holy One, and that He is the only way, and that He is the only name that has been given to us to be saved. And if we all would embrace Elu'hymn, and if we all would reject God, and also all the names for God, and also all the names of God's Son, Jesus, that we all would be blessed, and we all would be with Elu'hymn in His holy kingdom. And we all would attain His free gift of His everlasting life. And also we all would spend our eternity with He in His holy kingdom. Hallelujah. Friends, we all got to overcome all the names of God and His Son, whom is also called Yeshua and Yeshua and Gesu and Ihs and Jesus, and whom is also known by many other names, so that we all can be saved. Friends, and brethren, and all those whom are Muslims and Christians, and those that are non-religious, we all have been invited into the holy kingdom of Elu'hymn. And all we have to do is to put aside all the confusion and the abjuration oath of Shaytaan, that is leading us away from Elu'hymn, and which is leading us away from Elu'hymn, and from His holy sacred names. And only then can we then pledge to embrace and serve Elu'hymn with all of our hearts, and only then can we all worship Elu'hymn, whom love us all, and whom wanna save us all. So my friends, my brothers, and my brethren, let us all return to Elu'hymn, whom is the sovereign King of all the heavens and the earth, and whom is still waiting for us to call upon His holy sacred name. So let us all start putting our trust and our faith in Elu'hymn, whom is called the Holy One, and whom is Christ, and whom is our Odd, and Amen, and is our Creator and our salvation. So let us do it today. Thank you, my friends, and may Elu'hymn opened up your eyes to the truth, and to the deception of God, whom is also known as Shaytaan, and whom is the archfoe of all of us. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your time. And I hope that this message haven't fallen on deaf ears. Because, friends, many in the world are dubious to these facts, and many would be lost because Shaytaan is the administrator of death, and whom is busy harvesting the souls of mankind. And once we all have died, there is no repentance in the grave. So my friends, we all have to return to Elu'hymn, before it is too late. And while we are in the land of the living. Thank you. Friends, please check out my message which is called E's Holy Invitation to all of us. Here are some more links for more information. Thank you. The end.